Welcome to the Stardew 200 Day Challenge, where I make myself suffer for views. If you haven't seen the last video, go ahead and watch it because I got a lot done in my first 100 days. While boycotting Pierre, I married Abigail, got the community bundles completed through Joja, and unlocked Ginger Island. In this video, we have some new goals to meet, and before we start, a slight warning that there are going to be lots of spoilers for the newest Stardew update, if you couldn't already tell. So let's get to it. I had a lot of goals for this next 100 days, but the main ones were continue boycotting Pierre, obviously. This will be easier because I've already gotten the 3 things I needed in the last video, so the only excuse to go in there will be to stomp my dirty farm boots over his floors. Become a film buff, meaning get the movie theater. This just counts on me saving my money enough and having good spending management, which doesn't seem like a challenge, but for me it really is. Next, unlock Mr. QI's Ginger Island room. I have a love-hate relationship with this man, but the room with his nut is very important. Okay, let's move on. Then, upgrade my house to have kids, also known as Operation Offspring. I need little devils to help me harass Pierre at holidays and any other day they can. Plus, how else will I get back at him than to adopt children that will grow up hating him more than I already do? Speaking of kids, I need to adopt Leo, the island native boy. I want him to be my son so bad. Next, I want validation. I want people to like me, which means I need friends. How to get those, you ask? Good question. Does anyone have an answer? Because I'm waiting. The exception to this is Pierre and Elliot, just by personal preference, because that's it. No, there's no reason, just because. And finally, I want to get to at least level 100 of the Skull Mines. Those are the goals. I don't know what else to say. That's it. And before we really get into this video, I'd like to say hi to my new subscribers and a welcome to any future ones. We have a lot of strange times on this channel, so be sure to subscribe and check out the other videos I posted if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below for any suggestions or anything else you'd like to say. Alright, enough chatter, enough small talk. This video means business, so let's get to it. To start with day 101, we're picking up where we left off.
Saving people.
Farming
things.
Family business.
Yes, I've made this joke before, leave me alone. I started this day with great news that my coop was ready to house my new dinosaur. I also bought 2 new ducks, Sir Quackson and Duck Duck Duck, gave the wizard a gift for his beloved birthday, bought some plants from Robin, and went to kill bugs for the quest from Willy. That night, on the last day of the night market, I showed off to Elliot and got a fancy painting, and a cherry sapling from the cart lady since I can't buy trees from Pierre. I went back to the mines and completed a Monster Hunter quest, and called it a night. The next day, I received a letter from none other than Mayor Lewis, explaining the Festival of the Winter Star tradition where you get assigned a person to give a gift to. I was nervous once I opened the letter, and even more so when I turned it over and saw a terrible letter in E. But my prayers were answered by Yoba itself when I saw it was Evelyn, not Elliot. Really dodged a bullet there. Then I donated a scroll I found to Gunther and explored the Ginger Island volcano for the rest of the day. On day 103, not much happened other than me buying ugly wallpaper at Joja, which from this point forward I knew would be an addiction. I mean, can you blame me? Pierre's catalog was off limits, so I had to become a wallpaper hoarder. TLC, keep your distance. This is my show now. On day 104, I had a nice harvest and used my juicy cranberries to make even juicier wine. My anti-Pierre farm eggs were a crowd pleaser, and I found another scroll in the mines. I did a lot of random chores on day 105, like getting Robin wood, checking the cart lady, giving Elliot seaweed, and finally finishing the bug gut quest. Then I went to Ginger Island and planted the blueberry seeds that the night market so kindly sold me, unlike Pierre. On day 106, I planted some more stuff on the Ginger Island farm, and on the way back home, I took the wizard's quest for ectoplasm and donated my last scroll, which meant I could finally talk to the dwarf in the mines. Then I found the ectoplasm in the mines and got level 9 combat. To start off day 107, I gave Abigail an amethyst because because I finished the ectoplasm quest and gave Leah a gift, but more importantly, got my first statue, Pinky Lemon. I farmed some stone in preparation for the skull mines, and got ambushed by floating skulls, but I made it out alive. On day 108, I got the mini obelisk recipe from the wizard and prepped some sprinklers for Ginger Island. I gave my future son his favorite gift and spent the rest of the night in the mines. On the night of the festival of the Winter Star, I spotted Santa Claus flying through the night sky. That day, I unlocked the dig site on Ginger Island, but I didn't bring a bomb with me, so I had to leave Professor Snail trapped in the cave for one more day. For the holiday, Abigail gave me the beautiful knowledge that Pierre hates Joja Cola, and I gave her yet another amethyst. At the festival, I gave Evelyn her gift, and Papa Gus was my secret gift giver. He gave me a glow ring, which I already have, but it's the thought that counts. Gus gave me another gift on day 110, a quest to catch albacore. I spent all of my money on the house upgrade that would further Operation Offspring, and brought furniture I definitely should not have. I finally saved Professor Snail on Ginger Island and gave Leo another gift before planting more seeds and going to bed. I donated some stuff to Professor Snail on day 111 and in no way cheated to finish the island surveys. Then I used the other walnuts I accumulated to fix the Parrot Express, and then went back to Pelican Town to buy wallpaper and harvest wine. On day 112, I wasted my whole morning waiting for 12 p.m. to get the Janimo plush for my future children. Then I went to fish for the albacore Gus wanted and saw Elliot on the dock. I talked to him for some reason, and he mentioned smelling like algae, which is no doubt because of all the seaweed I gave him. I woke up on spring 1st to find out I was living large, and living large has never been uglier. Oh my god, my house was so ugly. But then Kent welcomed himself to the neighborhood, and Clint and Robin raised their prices, so I guess that really means I'm rich and they hate me. But my dinosaur hatched, and I named it Joel. If you know, you know. I bought seeds and even more furniture at Robin's and planted the seeds and bought seeds super late, thanks to Joja. On day 114, I made more sprinklers and made more bad decisions with wallpapers. I took the wizard's prismatic slime quest because, no, Pierre, just no. On day 115, I did my usual chores and then bought the barn upgrade and furniture, and went to the mines but got no prismatic jelly. The trend so far is me just doing random tasks and chores, and that continued on day 116, but I promise it gets better later, I think. I made my house uglier and gave Kent a gift, then bought more wallpaper I don't need and wasted the rest of my day looking for the prismatic slime. After a while, I gaslit myself into thinking I didn't actually have the right quest, but I did. It's just really hard. My barn was ready on day 117, so I bought a goat, Milo. Again, if you know, you know. I also bought a dark couch from the cart because, I mean, what is the cart lady there for? Rare and out-of-season items that can help in my progression? No, she's there for overpriced furniture I don't need. Then I cried because I still couldn't find the prismatic slime. On day 118, my anti-Pierre beer, well, wine, business was finally coming to a start. And despite the wine harvest, I knew my business wouldn't be complete until it had its own shed. But in the meantime, I decorated my house and accidentally created a pretentious intermedia type art piece. And then wallowed away in the mines, still not finding the prismatic slime. On day 119 and the last day of the prismatic slime quest, I did my harvesting and took care of animals and brought some much needed coffee from Gus. I gave Lewis a hot pepper for his birthday and harvested some stuff on Ginger Island. Then I trudged back to Pelican Town for my infuriating defeat to the prismatic slime and went home empty-handed and angry. I got money today from my harvest, but at what cost? I felt like a failure after the prismatic slime quest, so I spent my hours cutting wood and got to Robin's just in time to upgrade my barn to be deluxe. I knew that buying a good amount of pigs would get me truffles, which would get me money, which would obviously get me happiness. I got the flute note from the museum and took the bone fragment quest, which would hopefully be easier than the prismatic slime. I started the pirate's wife quest and gave Kent the war memento, then Gus the pepper, and finally got the Stardew Valley rose. Now that I had the rose, which had to go to Sandy, I knew it was time to truly prepare for the skull mines. I got level 10 foraging on the night before day 121 and chose botanist. I focused on my bone fragment quest and got 54 for the day, then made 10,000 gold for future pigs. On day 122, I woke up on Pierre farm and did my chores. I gave Vincent a birthday gift, got more stuff at Joja, and took Shane's request for a bass because he asked nicely. I got the fish, went to the mines, and expected to fall asleep to yet another day of the usual, sometimes tedious farming tasks, but instead, as I lay my head to rest on my cool pillow, Abigail whispered something to me, a question. Should we adopt a child? I mean, of course! I said yes, and simultaneously got possessed by a high-pitched chainsaw. In celebration of the good news, on day 123 I tried redecorating my house with my Joja wallpaper, and as I placed it on my farmhouse walls, I got a call from the one and only Pierre. He tried to warm me up to buy his disgusting products, probably knowing me and Abigail were waiting for our child to arrive in the mail. Then, of course, my super cucumbers requested I give them a diamond. I mean, that's expensive taste for a pond that never delivers iridium ore. Anyway, I delivered Shane's bass and went ahead to Robin's to get another room in my house, even though I have no furniture. But then I made a great discovery that wiped out the bad things that happened that day. You can change your house colors and horse stable colors. I mean, I'm sure plenty of you out there are sitting or standing or lounging where you are thinking, well, duh, but this is a great revelation for me, and of course, I chose somewhat goth colors for me and Abigail's home. Abigail tried to threaten me on day 124, swearing she would win the egg hunt, but we both know who's really gonna win. Me. It's me. I bought more food from Gus in preparation for the skull mines, slapped some seaweed in Elliot's face on the way to Ginger Island, and there I gave Leo a gift, just because he's Leo. I donated a mummified frog and showed the Gorman frog my trusty melons. I towed him home on day 125 and zoomed through my chores so I could get to the egg festival. This time, unlike last, Pierre's stand didn't devastate me. And then Elliot threatened me and said a raven would curse me, but I said nevermore, Elliot, nevermore. And if a raven did curse me, it did a bad job. I got 13 eggs this time around and squashed those eggs so the yolk dribbled down my palms. Ew. But I won! Day 126 started with me redecorating my stuff. I made more bad decisions at Robin's and Joja and gave Haley a gift. I cut wood so I could upgrade the barn and slept. Evelyn requested a leek on day 127, and I am not one to deprive the elderly, so I intended to complete that quest ASAP. In other news, I almost murdered my horse with a tree, and when I went to go upgrade my barn, I realized I already did it. Yes, I am a professional. I took Pam's potato juice quest and donated to the museum before mining stone for staircases for the skull mines. On the way home, the wizard asked me to find something for him in his ex-wife's house, but that meant first clearing the path with Krobus's help. Marnie was closed on day 128, so of course, I couldn't get my precious pigs. Instead, I found the dark talisman Krobus led me to so I could clear the path to the witch's hut. And then I found the shadow figure so I could collect secret notes. I delivered Evelyn a leek and cleared the path to the witch hut, but I didn't have wood mayonnaise to give to the henchmen, so I had to leave. And once I awoke to check what the spirits had in store for me, I knew it wouldn't be good. Well, it was good, but that wasn't good for me. The spirits were in good humor, so I had to, for the first time in this playthrough, go to the skull mines. I prepped everything, grabbed all my supplies, and before Pam got to the bus, I ran to Marnie's and bought 3 pigs, Piggy Bank, Moneymaker, and Richie Rich. I went to the mines and mined until my heart couldn't take it, which was only level 43. But hey, it's a start. That start was not the end. Good spirits again, so I had to go to the mines again. This day was terrible. I had to leave super early because I was attacked by way too many monsters. Honestly, it was so rude, but at least I gave Sandy the Stardew Rose and got the remote. I bought a rug to make up for the awful day and went home to decorate my house and harvest some wine. At this point, I was sick of losing. Before playing again, I researched the skull mines like a college term paper with 50% of my grade depending on it. And I watched Unsurpassable Z's guide to the skull mines and literally took notes. I was hoping to get some time to think about my new plan, but of course, the spirits were happy. I grabbed my food and my bombs and rushed to the mines after waiting a whole hour for Pam to arrive. I mean, Jesus Christ, Pam, you have one job. But still, I was determined to get to level 100. I fought monsters left and right, destroyed rocks like it was my job, and got a cool cowboy hat. I made it to level 95 and passed out. I literally hate life. After going through a mental breakdown, I chose excavator on level 10 mining. The spirits were finally neutral for day 132, so I was able to take a break. I did my mundane chores and a bear shared its knowledge with me, and I shared my knowledge with it. Stay away from the flower dance, bear. I gave George the remote and got the Arctic shard, then gave the Arctic shard to the wizard. At Gus's, I bought more food and coffee for my next trip to the skull mines, and also gave Shane a birthday gift. Then I found Willie on the way to the saloon, and he gave me precious information to give Elliot salmon berries if I want him to hate me. I'm not sure I need to because he already hates me enough, but it's always nice to have more leverage. Then I got the pirate's locket from Willie so I could finish the pirate's wife quest. That night I retired Cash's trash helmet. Since we are rich folk now, we mean business. On day 133, the spirits gave me good humor. On my way to do my chores, I saw that Pierre wanted sashimi, and of course, I deleted the request. I don't need money from that fool. I bought jade with me to the mines, since the desert trader sometimes sells staircases for jade, and still, I didn't make it to level 100. I decided on day 134 to take a break from the skull mines, at least until I upgraded my pickaxe. I upgraded my pickaxe to iridium, and literally, Clint, what are these prices? I am poor now, but whatever. I was absolutely not gonna take the wizard's prismatic quest again, so I took Robin's hardwood quest instead and sailed off to Ginger Island. I gave Leo a gift and cut trees, harvested, and went to bed. I went back to Pelican Town and gave Robin her hardwood, and finally got iridium for my super cucumbers, though now it's practically useless. I decorated with hardwood fences that look really bad right now, but give it time, hopefully I can make it look pretty. Unlike last year, I actually have a dance for this flower festival, but just in case, I gave Abigail an amethyst to ensure that she'll dance with me today. After decorating some more, I treaded off to the festival, and of course, Pierre stood with his stand that I very clearly boycotted. Then I asked my wonderful wife to dance, and she absolutely pranked me. Get pranked, the most epic prank a prank could ever prank. After that, we finally danced, making up for the lost time of last year. On day 137, me and Abigail finally got a baby boy! Welcome to the world, little Joja. I hope you make Pierre miserable. I went about my day with new parent energy. I picked up my iridium pickaxe and, from a note, got the Junimo statue from behind the community center. I added 2 new sheep to Anti-Pierre Farms family, JC Penny and Merrill Sheep. I bought Joja wallpaper, and with it, in my back pocket, I gave Pierre a gift I knew he'd love. Over at Ginger Island, I finished the gem puzzle and got 5 walnuts. Because the game hates my love for my son, I couldn't give Leo a gift, but at least I made good money that night. After harvesting on Ginger Island for day 139, I went home and got a new statue. Pinky Lemon has a friend now. I did my chores and bought furniture and wallpaper, gave Emily a gift, and decorated outside my farm. On day 140, I got my first truffle, which meant I could start making even more money. I also got a new pig, Meryl Streep, not to be confused with Meryl Sheep or the actress Meryl Streep. The start of summer, the worst time of the year if you have any taste. For the first day of summer, I made a new dinosaur.
Life, finds a way.
And bought so many more seeds and made bee houses with flowers ready to bloom beside them. I got my first wool on day 142, so I made a loom and got the artisan achievement. And because I was still scarred from the wizard's prismatic quest, I took the Lewis tomato one instead. I went to the mines to try and find jade for the desert, but couldn't find any and went home. On day 143, I got access to Emily's sewing machine. I ran over as soon as I could and made a new propeller hat, which I guess is the closest thing I'll get to a crown. I placed more seeds and bought a new Joja light for right above baby Joja's crib. After doing my chores on day 144, I gave Jazz a birthday gift and headed to Ginger Island, where I gave Leo a please be my son gift and got a scene with him. And I swear to Yoba I want to adopt him so bad. I harvested a lot and planted my wheat seeds for the Gourmand Frog. I finally finished the pirate quest with Birdie and forged my sword for more damage. Day 145 started with another harvest and another gift for Leo. I got the last golden nut I needed for the resort and paid that off, meaning the citizens of Pelican Town could waste even more time doing nothing. I woke up to a letter recipe from my son Leo and a pufferfish quest from Demetrius. I planted more ancient seeds and bought more salad from Gus and more wallpaper from Joja. As I mined stone, I realized my pushing off the skull mines was probably for the best because I still hadn't found the secret note that even invited Mr. QI there, so maybe the fact that I didn't reach level 100 yet was a good thing, because if I did and he wasn't down there, I would probably rip my hair out. So, on day 147, basically all I did was my usual chores and search for the Skull Cavern note. I didn't find it, of course, because my life is never easy. I got the final combat level up on day 148 and chose to be a brute, though I think it's safe to say I already was one. I took Emily's quest so I could get my own sewing machine, and gave Gus a gift before going up to the mines. I finally got Jade, and then I kept going to try to find the QI secret note, but I just kept getting more Jade.
It's enough slices!
I got another monster quest completed, but because the guild was closed, I went home. The morning of day 149 started with Gus on my doorstep. He compared me to a spice, and then said I was his friend, so I'm getting some mixed vibes here. But then, the nature of our friendship became true, because he gave me the jukebox. As soon as he left, I put it right by Abigail's spot and played our theme, because obviously. Then later that day, I finished the quest I had for Emily. I broke 200k gold on day 150 and held baby Joja for the first time. I got my sewing machine in the mail and later upgraded my coop, and because Maru was nowhere to be found, I sailed to Ginger Island and found her to get her birthday gift. Then I harvested my Ginger Island farm, and being the doofus I am, accidentally harvested the wheat before I could show the frog. I planted more though, and then gave Leo a gift as well. Leo, you will be my son whether you like it or not. That night I went to the Pirate Cove for the first time and played darts for some walnuts. The chef dude said the grub was only for pirates. Do I not look like a pirate? Today was the luau, where I placed a dusty, fresh off the farm and probably manure-soaked truffle in the soup, and it was a huge success. I got the networking achievement, and to celebrate I went home and prank called Pierre while he was inevitably sleeping. I did more of the usual stuff on day 152, and when I visited the cart I found an apple sapling. I still needed to find the Mr. QI note, but instead of going to the regular mines, I decided today would be the day that I bested the weird mines by the quarry. I went through with coffee and defeated the flying skulls that looked strangely similar to the evil pizza in that one Jimmy Neutron episode. But still, I made it to the end, where I got a beautiful golden scythe. I woke up to the millionaire achievement on day 153, so Jeff Bezos, watch out. Not only that, but our second dinosaur hatched. Monsieur Dino is now a proud member of Anti-Pierre Farm. I bought some more seeds and was waiting to give Alex a gift when I got Haley's heart event seed. She lost her precious bracelet on the beach, and of course, I found it next to none other than Elliot's house. There is absolutely no way that was a coincidence. He probably stole it so he could sell it for more wine or books or something. I stood outside Elliot's house to accuse him of his crimes, but it wouldn't let me in because only friends could enter. And you know what, game? You're right. I'm not Elliot's friend because I'd rather not be friends with a criminal. I bought new rabbits on day 154 since my coop was ready, one named after an acquaintance I had in my Little Nightmare series, and the other Shoelace. I unlocked the flute blocks today too, so I could get more walnuts on Ginger Island and hopefully unlock Mr. QI's room. I also took Willie's fishing quest, and that afternoon I went to the mines. Not sure what I would find, but hopeful. And lucky enough, I finally got the Mr. QI note for the Skull Mines, which was good news, but also awful news because now I had to get ready to actually go to the Skull Mines and not fail, which is clearly very hard for me. On day 156, the spirits mocked me with their good humor. I rushed home and did all my chores and grabbed what I needed before I went to my doom. And again, I put all my heart into the Skull Mines. I bled on the walls. I let teardrops carve my path. And even then, I made it to level 95 again! Life is just really freaking funny, isn't it? Day 157, I went around in a fog. I was disheartened as I did my chores, all from this skull mine stuff. I had to wait to go again for my own mental health, but also because I wasted so many supplies on it. Instead, I focused on Ginger Island, where I did the mermaid puzzle and kept messing it up, but managed to get the walnuts anyway. On day 158, I finished Willy's fishing quest and pretty much just made a mess of my house. The next day, I broke 300k and Willy sent me a deluxe fishing tank. I did my chores and went to the cart lady as usual, but this time I found garlic. I couldn't buy it before because of Pierre, but now I could plant it on Ginger Island and get more walnuts. I bought some more furniture and gave the stranger in the Joja truck a rabbit's foot, which increased my overall luck, which is definitely something I very much needed. That night, I visited the saloon where I saw Elliot, and after over 150 days of being in Pelican Town, I realized just how much I've grown. How only giving him seaweed seems so childish now, especially with myself being a parent. What kind of example was I setting for my child? I thought the only right thing to do was give him what Willy told me he loves, salmon berries. Enjoy that one, Elliot. On day 160, I planned to go to Ginger Island and plant my garlic and visit my other son. When I did, Leo was sad, and I swear to Yoba I am going to punch someone because Leo can't be sad. But I got a big harvest, planted the garlic seeds, and ended up getting a scene for Leo, and then I gave him a duck feather to make him feel better, and donated to Professor Snail. I finally finished Lewis's tomato quest on day 161, and on the way home from Ginger Island, I planned to buy a star drop from Krobus, only to realize I already did it. Still, this is a perfect place to remind you to subscribe, because I'm desperate. Anyway, I bought a void egg, so I could pretty please have a void chicken, and when I checked my mail, Lewis requested truffle oil for something. I bought a pufferfish from the traveling cart because I'm too lazy to actually catch one for Demetrius, and gave Lewis the truffle oil. He called it, and I quote, very slick. I'm not gonna be slick, but I will be sick. Thank you very much, Lewis. Before mining for stone on day 162, I gave the dwarf a birthday gift. I left the mines early and went to the guild to claim the rewards that have been sitting there for who knows how long. And when I tell you, I could not believe the rewards I got this time. A vampire ring and a skeleton mask. I'm literally gonna wear this for the rest of my life. Well, actually the mask is a little unsettling, so I'm gonna save that as my warrior mask for the skull mines. Day 163, the spirits were happy, and this time I was ready. I did all my chores in a flash, grabbed my new skull mask, and readied myself for victory. And of course, today of all days, Pam decided to go to Ginger Island. I mean, it's like this town doesn't even want me to succeed. I made myself a dinosaur hat because I could, and went to go buy extra food from Gus, who happened to be at Ginger Island as well, but at least he lets me buy stuff. Pam. Baby Jojo was crawling up a storm at the dawn of day 164, and the spirits were in good humor. But now, because of Pam, I was spiteful. So when Pam was actually at her job for once, I went to the desert just to buy the desert totem. I also treated myself to the butterfly hutch, which is arguably the best furniture piece in this game. Later, I went to Ginger Island and showed the Gorman Frog my crops, and gave Willy a last-minute birthday gift. I didn't want to go to the skull mines on day 165, but when do I ever? So when the spirits were in good humor, I said screw it, and used my only desert totem. Of course, the trader wasn't selling staircases today, so I only had 5 on me when I went into the skull mines. And yet, that didn't stop me. I soared through the levels and was making good time for once, not afraid to use my bombs to the best of my abilities. I was doing well, better than I had before, but then bats. The bats ambushed me, flapped their wings in my ears and screeched in my face, and I was lucky to get to the ladder. But then, that moment of weakness when my heart was pounding and my hands were sweating, I went to eat food to get my health up, and I didn't realize the option that came up was not to eat, but to leave the mines. What the fuck? Why me? When I tell you, I was so angry. I was in shock. I didn't want to believe it, but I was forced to. Another day lost. My hope completely drained. Do I even need to say how I felt on day 166 when the spirits were in good humor? I cursed them and went about my day, and I had to celebrate the small wins. Me and Cash finally having matching hats. I spent my day with Leo, gave him a birthday gift, and to my surprise, a great gift among all this garbage, I got Leo's last scene. It was official. My other better son was moving to Pelican Town finally. A win among the losses. It felt great, but still, my loss in the skull mines dragged me down. Day 167. To say I was tired was an understatement, but when I saw the spirits were happy, I couldn't help myself. Call me a masochist, if you will. I secured the skull mask around my head and went to the desert, unsure of how the day would play out. My hands were sweating as I descended deeper and deeper. I blew the skull mines to shreds, ate dozens of salads, and didn't leave the mines this time. I was focused, determined, afraid. And finally, after 167 days of this playthrough, I made it to level 100! Mr. QI greeted me graciously and offered me his special milk, and I drank it like it was the only liquid that could quench my thirst. It was beautiful. It was glorious. And now, all I needed was to find his nuts.
You need to leave!
On day 168, I could finally retire my skull mask. I was ready to never return to the skull mines, so I focused on the farm, where I got my first void chicken, a void. I spent the day searching for secret note items like a strange doll, treasure chest, Caroline's necklace, and Lewis's statue. I went to the Moonlight Jellies Festival, where I had no clue Pierre had a shop, and his stuff looked really freaking cool, which is so rude. Elliot reminded me of how the earth is dying, so thanks, Elliot. And me and Abigail watched the jellies, our troubles now in the past. Not much happened on the first day of fall. I went to give Caroline her lost necklace, but I got distracted by Abigail and gave it to her instead, so whoops. But I donated to the museum and saw Elliot, and I only had sap to give. But don't worry, I distracted him from reading by slicing the air in front of him. I bought a ton of seeds and planted them until about 1 a.m. and passed out in my living room. A great start to the month, if you ask me. On day 170, I mostly worked on Ginger Island, where I unlocked the island trader to buy taro roots for Caroline's quest. I also unlocked the mailbox. I harvested my star fruit on day 171 and tried to find more walnuts in the volcano, but eventually just gave up. On the way home, I saw Pierre absolutely roasting on the beach, and in Pelican Town, I came upon Leo and the other kids, and I swear I love him more than my own child. Then I gave Kent his star fruit and filled more of my greenhouse. On day 172, I finally gave the henchman void mayonnaise and finished the wizard's quest, so now I could buy his special buildings. And even though I knew I would be poor immediately after, I bought the movie theater. Day 173 was Elliot's birthday, so I left a nice piece of seaweed to fester in my pocket all day before I saw him. I bought a peach sapling from the cart, and on the way to Ginger Island, I breathed down Elliot's neck and delivered his birthday gift. I did some usual chores around Ginger Island and made good money that night. On day 174, I did harvests and chores and got some gold ore from the mines, and it was safe to say I was no longer poor. There wasn't much to day 174. I did farm chores, bought stuff from Joja and Robin, and searched for Mr. QI's nuts. I got 2 more walnuts on day 175, and on the way home I took Demetrius's albacore quest. I didn't really care for actually doing it, but it was better than taking Pierre's. I planted the last of my ancient fruit in the greenhouse and made some more kegs, so soon my anti-Pierre beer wine business would be ready. I totally, completely forgot about the Stardew Fair this month again, so on day 177 I gathered anything I had lying around and hoped it would be enough. After going to Joja, I gave Penny a blackberry and was rudely interrupted by Elliot. I didn't have anything bad, or good, to give him, so I just tried to run him over with my horse. I placed some crab pots and went to Ginger Island, where I harvested some taro roots and got walnuts. I unlocked the exit shortcut in the volcano, and on the way home, out of curiosity, I swung by Mr. QI's walnut room to see how many I had left. But by some miracle, I got in. And to aid my last goal of making friendships and getting validation, I took the loved gift quest. Today I had to focus on being a Stardew Santa Claus. Before heading home, I donated a bat to Professor Snail and closed down the beach so it would be easier to find people. I gathered every loved gift I had and went off to be the best dang gift giver this town has ever seen. I got so many scenes, it's too much to include all of them, but it was all good news because scenes meant hearts and hearts meant people loved me. Day 2 of playing Santa. I did my chores and found a weird alien incubator. Truly love that for me. I gave everyone their gifts based on a list I literally wrote out on a piece of paper and somehow managed to get all of the gifts done. So suck that, Mr. QI. Fall 12th. To some, an average day. To me, the day that started it all. The proposal in the rain, so iconic, it should be fossilized and placed in a museum. I of course gave Abigail an amethyst for the special day. And for the rest, I did my usual. Then on Ginger Island, I fished for the last bone and found it, and got the ostrich incubator in return. Day 181 marked my finished tarot quest, and I went home as fast as I could for Abigail's birthday. I nearly sliced my child before handing off her a gift, and afterwards went fishing more to try and do damage to the albacore quest I had taken. I ended up getting more seaweed than albacore. Where's Elliot when you need him?
Don't you dare touch me! Stand back now!
On day 182, I warped to the beach to try to get a head start on catching albacore, and while there, I saw Abigail going to Ginger Island. So of course, instead of finishing my quest, I rushed my chores and bought the furniture catalog to bring to Ginger Island with me, so I could have a beautiful family vacation. I decorated the beach house the best I could and then went to bed early. Day 183 was another most excellent day. Abigail and I's wedding anniversary. Besides taking the Junimo cart quest, its title scarily reminiscent of Jigsaw,
You wanna play a little game?
and taking the prismatic quest again, I presented Abigail with the first ever certified film buff experience of being the first person I took to the movies. It was perfect. We saw a horror movie, I gave her rock candy, and although I couldn't try and win her something at the crane game, we had a great time. I decorated practically all morning on day 184 and completely forgot the fair was today. And with bated breath, I placed my items on the Grange display, making sure to side-eye Pierre the whole time. But still, I was scared. I wasn't sure if I could win, especially after last year's debacle. I prayed to Yoba that my anti-Pierre farm could beat he who shall not be named. I stepped up to Lewis and the words he said shocked me to my core. I won! Eat that, Pierre, you no good. I laughed in his face and flipped him off while gambling all my tokens, the luck completely on my side today. The fortune teller blessed me and said me and Leo were best friends, and I imagined kicking Pierre's shins on the way out of the festival. Day 185 was simpler. I literally just decorated, did chores, and tried to find the dumb prismatic shard. On day 186, I tried Junimo Kart for the first time, and it was rough. It was so bad. It took me so long. Anyway, I gave up for the day and went to the mines, where I still could not find the prismatic jelly for the life of me. I tried Junimo Kart again, but again, gave up. This time, though, I was desperate to find the prismatic jelly, humiliated by how many times it had bested me. And finally, after 3 or 4 attempts of this Yoba awful challenge, I found it! But of course, my win was short-lived, because I tried Junimo Kart again and had to rage quit after getting the furthest I've ever gone and dying. I was on Ginger Island on day 188. On the way out, I saw Lewis on the beach and tried to threaten him to forfeit his Junimo Kart score, but it didn't work. Then I gave the wizard his stupid prismatic shard, and then I went back to try and win Junimo Kart for, 10 gems? And I tortured myself over and over again with loss after loss. But after the skull mines, I was used to it. I developed a thick skin, and that thick skin got past 50k in the game and finished the quest! Oh my god, I fucking did it! My voice is gone, but I fucking did it and I'm still going! No, that was not a dying cat, that was me, celebrating. You're welcome. I could finally relax a little. Bought 2 auto grabbers for Marty and made the leap to buy a shed from Robin so I could start my anti-Pierre beer wine business. The morning of day 190 was filled with typical farm chores and prepping for my wine shed. On the way to Ginger Island, I stood in front of Elliot's house. contemplating the fact that it felt like I hadn't seen him in so long. It had been too much time since I had last harassed him. I was so worried about my own beautiful life that I forgot to bully him senselessly and without any good reason. So, to make up for lost time, I made Elliot his own chest so that whenever he left his house, or whenever he stayed inside, the stench of my seaweed gifts would never leave. They would simmer under his nose whenever he woke, and when he dreamt, it would be about me shoving seaweed into every crevice of his life. And even when he was far away from the beach, seaweed would follow him everywhere, and he would see my face sneering down at him. Then I went to Ginger Island and took Mr. QI's Danger in the Deep quest, and got the horse flute. So now, not only am I efficient, but I'm riding on cash everywhere I go. I also forged my sword with more damage and got a head start on the QI special mines, and oh my god, they are so cool! Mr. QI, more like Mr. Cool Slime. Look at their sunglasses. These slimes are cooler than I'll ever be. My shed was done on day 191, so I could finally start my official anti-Pierre beer wine business. Before heading back to the QI mines, I went to go check on Elliot's chest, and I had been fooled. My seaweed was saved, but he destroyed my wooden chest. I bet he gave it to Leah to make a sculpture mocking me. This clearly was an act of war I would not be made a fool of. Any chance I could get in the future would be filled with shoving seaweed in Elliot's face.
Mock me.
To prove this point, I found him in the library and gave him seaweed that I hope stunk up his reading time. Little Jojo became a toddler on day 192. To celebrate, I did the final house upgrade for the basement, and then tortured myself in the mines, but I made it to level 30. I spent all day in the QI mines and made it to level 55. On day 194, I spent another day in the mines and got to level 85. In light of the Spirit Festival, I changed into my skull mask and spent the morning working the mines until level 115. After that, I made it to the festival and pretended to curse Elliot, so he lay awake at night in fear. I got my second golden pumpkin and placed my trophy right in my living room. I took a slower approach to day 196 and took my time harvesting everything, and my pumpkins were done and my diamonds too, and then I finally went to complete the last level of the QI mine. It didn't take long, but it satisfied me all the same. Another QI quest cleared, and I even stuck around to mine some more. And that was when I found a strange bun. So lucky I could hardly believe it, but I ran to Vincent's room and got the last statue of my trio. The gang was now complete. For the first day of winter, I made up for last year and gave Krobus a birthday gift. Then I ran to Ginger Island and took the QI crop quest, knowing I'd probably not do well at it. I spent my gems on the key to the town and the QI hat. Just one step closer to becoming Mr. QI himself. I searched for the QI beans and planted what I got. I did my chores on day 198, placed wine in casks for extra quality, and searched the mines for QI beans. I got a good amount today and planted them on the farm with speed grow. 199 was another day of me doing chores and searching for QI beans. The last day. On day 200, I said good morning to Joja and Abigail. I did my farm duties and then I asked my son, no, not Joja, Leo, to see a movie with me. We went to the theater and I did the crane game so much and finally won a rabbit. I got Leo some nachos and we had a great time seeing his first movie together. I saw Elliot on the way home and gave him coal, even though that's a precious material and he's rude for even taking it. Then I spent more time in the mines looking for QI beans and went home and planted it all. Somehow feeling confident in my abilities to finish this QI quest. And soon, I might even be better than Mr. QI himself. I might be the Stardew Valley champion, the Stardew Valley completionist. Thank you all so much for watching through this entire video. As you may already know, these videos take a huge amount of effort to make, so any love you can show towards them goes a long way. Like, comment, subscribe, but really, all that matters is that you're here. We are sharing this moment together and it is so beautiful and magnificent and one of a kind, and you are amazing for even showing up today and being yourself. Hold on, I don't know how this got so sappy so fast, but oh, a backpack full of sap would do it. Oh yeah, we should adopt a baby.